What do you do when you have emotional and mental stuff come up for you, but it's due to a systemic issue? How do you cope? How do you just deal with the day to day? Hi, my name is Camilla, and I'm a licensed professional counselor, or LPC. And I wanted to speak on this as a therapist who is multiculturally sensitive, who understands the oppressions that exist in the world and keeps people possibly from seeking mental health care, and who wants therapy to be radicalized, and understanding that there are certain systems in place that do oppress people and do cause these populations to have more emotional and mental health issues than other people. How do you deal with systemic issues? Right. So, first, just starting off with the day to day. I'm a huge advocate for mindfulness in my therapy. And that is because sometimes we just have to break it down. Sometimes we just have to go day by day. And that's all we can do. When we look at the big picture, we can get overwhelmed. We can't be like, what the hell is even going to happen later down the line? And it helps to just try and bring it back. Is the future going to happen? Yes. And that doesn't necessarily mean ignoring it either, right? That doesn't still mean continuing to work towards things that can change the outcome of the future, to still advocate, to still, speak up, to still, um, you know, to petition and do all these other things. However, it can cause sort of a panic when we think about the state of the world is in and what the outcome may be of that. So that's why I use mindfulness as a practice in my own life, and I advise it to my clients. It doesn't mean don't stop doing the work. It just means do what you can for today. So that leads to the second thing that I like to incorporate, and that's being in touch with your physical sensations, being in touch with your body. Somatic work is on the rise, which is fantastic. And I love that in our field because trauma can't be fully processed on the cognitive level. It just can't. You can't necessarily talk out through trauma. It can help to an extent, but trauma is such a physical response that it helps to be in touch with what is going on physically. Oftentimes, I will have clients try and imagine themselves in these situations and recount from a feelings perspective and what it is that they are experiencing, and not just telling a story, right? So that leads to the next thing, and that is authenticity. I try and express to my clients that you're okay to be who you are here. You're okay to express yourself here. You're okay to show up how you want to show up here. And I don't have any expectations for that. Now, if a client's hard on themselves, I'd be like, hey, no, you're fantastic. You're great. Like, I really try and validate my clients. But if you express that it's hard living in a capitalistic society, I'm not going to tell you any different because it is hard. I'm not going to try and tell you to think your way out of it, to self care out of it, because why and how, right? It's a systemic issue. Not saying that, once again, trying to take care of yourself the best that you can doesn't help, but that is not necessarily the answer to provide to that problem, right? What I also advise is looking at what can you control? With the sense of hopelessness, there feels a lack of control. There feels a lack of what can I do? I can't do anything. Across the other side of the world, or I have too much privilege, or I don't have enough money to give to a charity, or I'm a minority person and I can't speak up against these privileged communities, right? Do what you can within your control. Examine what is in your control. I got out of bed today. I chose to eat this today. I chose to talk with a friend today about, you know, this microaggression that I experienced today. I chose to speak up to someone today about this thing. I watched this educational movie about this. I read this book. I saw my therapist and talked about it. There's there are things that we can do within our control. It's hard to see it, and it's hard to feel like we do have control of things. Systematic issues, once again, are hard, and as a single individual, you may not do much, but with the power of the collective, we can. So I always advise my clients to take care of yourselves, do what you can. And yeah, I'm not going to once again sit here and tell you that you are in the wrong for like feeling a certain way about oppressive society. First of all, we don't do that anyway in any regards because I'm a therapist. But second of all, because yeah, it's valid. It's valid to feel tired after working a long day of work and still struggling to make bills meet. It's valid to feel angry if you have faced some kind of ism throughout your day. It's valid to feel hopeless and upset when there is people dying across the world and you over here feel like you can't do anything. That causes depression. It causes anxiety. It can cause trauma, right? So if you want more therapy videos, therapy humor, other videos on this regard, please give me a follow, like this video, and I'll see you in the next one.